All right, what's up, guys? So these are three things that prevented me from hitting my first 10K month sooner than I did. Initially, it was in 4 months. It could have been 2.5, 3, but these are the top three things. There are more, but I think these are the most valuable to you watching this, and that this is something you guys can take almost immediately and start applying into your own life, into your own agency. But let's get into it. The first, ego. Guys, I've mentioned this multiple times on this channel. The first 3 months of running SMMA, I did everything by myself. And what was the outcome? Over $1,000 being made. And one of the best ways to indicate the future, to predict the future, is to look at the past and see what had happened. And so I said to myself, okay, if I continue doing this for another 3 to 4 months, what do I think is going to happen? And so I did this because I thought I could do everything myself. I did things in my previous life, then starting online money, starting the agency space, where I had good grades in college. I started organizations. I was a good athlete. And I was like, oh, I could do everything myself. It's completely fine. And then once I started doing everything myself, I just got hit in the face. I got slammed. And I realized that the skills aren't that transferable and that I can't really move horizontally from what I did in my previous life. And so I got slapped, I got beat up, and I realized that it's way harder than most people assume it is. And that's kind of these are the stages of entrepreneurship that we talk about, right? It's like in the beginning, you get the dopamine rush, and then you start to slowly climax. You realize then how hard it is, then you just kind of fall down. And in that fall, most people tend to just fall off and switch business models or give up entirely. But it's when you stick to something actually for a long enough period in time, then you're going to start to see results, and then you start to climb back up and ascend from there. And so, ego. I wish I joined the mentorship sooner. I wish I bought a course sooner. I wish I stopped thinking to myself I could do everything by myself sooner. And so that, I would say, is one of the biggest things in the beginning. And so if you are watching this, and it's funny because I get a lot of DMs now about people, asking me for free sauce and advice. And I say, buy a course. Like, I'm not selling anything right now. Of course, I'm going to, but I continuously say, just buy a course, get involved in the community and marinate in information, talk to people, reach out to people, give value, get value. And people always talk about money, I don't have the money. And it's like, it's not about the money, guys. It's truly about yourself and developing the skills. Because if you had the skills, you would then have the money by extension, sales 101. And so that's the first point. The second point is, I think defining the inputs was really important and something I didn't do soon enough. And so most things come down to basic math, and life in and of itself is just a simple formula of inputs to get a certain output, the desired life that you actually want. And so it's like, okay, for example, if I want to learn a language, I'm going to stick to it for 2 hours a day consistently, and by 2 months, after 120 hours of doing a language learning, I'm going to be conversational, almost fluent. And that's the number I need to hit in order to get this outcome. And so if I stick to 2 hours a day, I can get there in half the time if I do 4 hours a day. But when it comes to SMMA specifically, it's like, okay, if you do 200 dials a day, 150 people tell you to go fuck yourself. 50 people answer the phone. Out of those 50 people, 10 you have a solid conversation with. Out of those 10, you book 5 appointments onto a sales call. And it's like, okay, and out of those 5 sales calls, you close at around, if you're beginning, I don't know, 25%. So you can get a client a day from doing 200 cold calls. And guys, this now results do vary, of course, depending on where you're at in the stage, the skill sets that you do have, and it just being a numbers game. And as Hermosi said, do so much volume, it's impossible to fail. And that's kind of the mindset you want to have in the beginning as well, because you just need raw volume. You just need raw, pure, relentless action to actually understand the skills, get good at setting, get good at taking sales calls, get good at media buying, and get good at everything. And that's why I think SMMA is a really important foundational entrepreneurship vehicle to start in, because you're learning everything. You're learning so many different valuable skills that if actually truly learned and truly became really good at, you could do pretty much anything you want if you have the credibility, social proof, and I would say connections, money in this space. And that's why it's so easy for a lot of people to just continue making so much money once they have enough, because they have the connections, they have the money, and they have all the social proof and validity that they need in order to move horizontally. And so for me personally, I'm not going to be an SMMA for the next 20 years of my life, at least the next 3 to 4, at least. And once I'm done there, I can then, of course, move horizontally, build the personal brands, start an email list, and kind of go from there and do whatever I want, right? But I truly believe that like defining the inputs is a really important skill you need to do in the beginning, because you need small wins to keep you going. And I forgot the gentleman who said this, but one of the best definitions of success that I've ever heard was success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And that worthy ideal is what you want. Do you want to retire your parents? Do you want to buy your favorite car? Do you want to buy your dream apartment? That's the worthy ideal. And then the steady the progressive realization of that ideal just simply means that you're realizing that what you want is coming into fruition, coming into reality, and that over time, it keeps you going, because you truly do need small micro wins to keep you going. And that's also why it's really important to track as much as you can, but because you can't improve what you're not tracking. You need to track your sales calls. You need to track your objections. You need to track your show up rate. You need to track all the metrics when media buying and understanding what levers to pull when this goes down, this goes up. Oh, this is good. Okay, let's pour more money into this. And you need these micro wins because it releases a good dopamine. And once you release that good dopamine, it kind of keeps you in the game, if that makes any sense. Now, like if you just don't have any goals or aren't checking off small micro wins, you might run dry, you might run stale, and it might not be keeping you alive in a sense. And so that's the second point, defining inputs. Third point, which is the last point, have big enough why, mindset and belief. And in the beginning, it truly is just 80% mindset. And even for me and for others who are at the top, or I'm not the top, but for others who are in this space who are at the top, mindset's a big thing as well, because you get to a certain point where it's like you're comfortable with the money that you're making, you can live the life that you want, you can go on these vacations, you can stay in nice Airbnbs, and it's like you start to question, okay, what do I really want? What's the goal here? And I think that you need a big enough why in the beginning to hold you through all the turmoil, through all the chaos that is inevitable throughout the journey. And so that's why it's extremely important to create a vision board, to put down all the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, all the reasons you're doing it, so that you can have something to look onto each and every single day when you do get into those ruts or those potential downward spirals where it's like, oh, what am I doing this for? Entrepreneurship is hard. Oh, it sucks. You simply just take out your vision board, read off all the reasons as to why you started. And if you truly have a big enough why, and you include, family members and friends, and some of the goals is to give back, it's like, okay, is my feeling of not wanting to work more important than the goals that I have in mind for the people that I want to help later down the line? And I continuously say to myself, it's really okay to be selfish in the beginning, because you want to get to a place where you're selfless. And the only way to get to a place where you're abundant and selfless is to be selfish in this moment. And so that's why the most successful people you can think of right now just went through a period of just nonstop focus, no social life, no friends. They made all the sacrifices that they had that was required to get their outcome. And so in the beginning, for me personally, I was just resentful at my environments, at my life, because I knew that there was a way out. I knew that there was a way to start making money online, and I wanted to be a travel vlogger, but I just didn't. I knew that virality could have happened, but I knew that it would take time to build up an audience. But I needed money now, and so when I came across the different vehicles, and I was just resentful because I didn't know what to do. I was like mean to my family members, to my friends, and this was all because I just knew that something was possible in this space, and that I knew I was destined for more, and that these people who I saw online were no smarter than me. They were for sure dumber than me. And they were making tons of money, living the life that I wanted to live. And I think it's okay in the beginning to come from a place of pain and being resentful. And that whether it's like, oh, this girl broke up with me, I'm going to show her. Oh, my friends are talking shit, I'm going to show them. That's entirely okay. I truly think that's okay because pain pushes people further than pleasure. And that's why on sales calls, you really need to make people relive their pain because that's an important part to make them feel like they need to act on this today as opposed to waiting down the line. And so in the beginning, mindset and belief, you need to come from a place, in my opinion, it's okay to come from a place of being resentful. Just try not to be a dick too much. Do it for a couple months and then get out of that phase. And then you need to transition into a different why and into a different reason as to what's going to keep you going. And so I hope this video is of value to you guys and that these were the three main things kind of preventing me from hitting my first 10K month sooner. And I hope by extension, you watching this can take some of the value and apply it into your own life and hit your first 10K month if you haven't already. Alrighty, peace.